you know how to join the conversation. It's on facebook.com/JoyNewsOnTV, and on Twitter it's at JoyNewsOnTV. Now, workers of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission today locked up regional offices of the commission to demand for the removal of the Executive Secretary Samuel Sapon. And this follows an investigation into alleged financial malfeasance at the commission. Now, the workers are also protesting against the reinstatement of former Director of Public Affairs Nanaya Jantua. Now, question I ask, what do you make of the situation, and do you consider this as a personal attack or genuine concern? And let's check out some comments you posted on Facebook.
Benjamin Brew says, I hope that everyone knows why Jeremy Lannister is called the Kingslayer in Game of Thrones. He murdered a king he swore to protect, a terrible king who burned people alive, but he swore. So that should count for something, even if he's evil. As a country, lack of loyalty is the biggest issue we face. You have ECG workers accusing their boss that he's corrupt, meanwhile they do illegal connections for their clients. So 2 thieves and 1 is mad because the other is a much more successful thief. Where's the moral code of the country, and who is charged with the key? That's why you find drivers recording their bosses. We need loyalty before someone sells this country, please. You work for the state, Ghana, not yourself. So your moral code should be what the state says it should be. Open the door or get fired. Michael Asari says, this is sheer personal attack. I think this action is just geared at settling some score with the executive secretary. Moreover, Nanaya Jantua, whom they're fronting for during her tenure, was more or less a mouthpiece for the utility companies. So are they requesting her to be re-engaged to come and continue along that path? Sure, the workers are destined power.
But I don't think they're asking her to come back. They are rather protesting that she shouldn't be reinstated. Exactly the point.
Apau says they should even scrap this PURC crowd because they are always fighting for their own interest, but not the interest of Ghanaian. And James Abusanga says it's not a personal attack, but it's due to the fact that sometimes some leaders can easily become power drunk and need to be told.
And Daniel Alfred says, I don't think all workers will protest against a particular person just because they want to sabotage him. It may be because they are truly not competent. Victor Ampon says, citizens can't take laws into their hands, even if there's a recall provisions in their constitution, in your constitution. Even then, they have to follow the prescribed order. And Nasir Hassan Yaima writes, what's their reason? I don't think they just got up and decided to protest. There should be something behind their action, and indeed there is. And those are some comments on Facebook. Also, you recall President Akufo-Addo's promise during his address to the nation in February? Okay, let me refresh your mind. The president said he is in a hurry to fix the country's problems, especially the economy. But Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Sam George, says the president has been caught up in traffic, thereby slowing him down in fixing the economy as promised. Question, do you think the president has slowed down in fixing the country's economy?
Automatically, the man is sleeping.
Why?
Yeah, because the way, let's say a driver, if a driver should move a car, automatically, as to whether he's experienced, he's not experienced, his first, second gears will automatically tell you. But for this, we are not seeing anything. The promises were so huge. So I think that he was desperate for power, but he wasn't desperate to fulfill his promises.
No, please.
Why?
Because they made the time that they will start in this September. And I think that, I don't think that they have slowed down because it's now come. He has now started. And I don't think that you have slowed down.
I don't think so.
Why?
Because you have to put mechanisms in place to make sure the policies you are bringing on board works. And you can't say you are God to know everything. There are some of the mechanisms you put in place and some of them have to break down and then you have to fix them again. So to me, I don't think there has been a slowdown in the fixing of the economy because we are human beings and some of the time you have to sit back and then reflect on whatever you are doing and make sure they are the right things that you are doing.
So, no, Akufo-Addo is slowed down because this is the first time he came to the president. So let's give out some time so that as time goes now, he will go to do everything all right for us. He can do better. He can do better for Ghana.
interesting comments from the streets. Let's check out what you've been posting on Facebook. And
Barry Makubaji says the president who claims he's in a hurry is rather treading even slower than snail. He can't even appoint government councils and boards to the extent that people would have to demonstrate. Confusion, Ayabasa. They're struggling with even the easiest things like salary payments. No wonder his wife, the First Lady, is pleading with Ghanaians to exercise restraint. The government has been a bomb so far. Michael Asari says, what Mr. Sam George should understand is that the president's haste to fix the ailing economy that he and his government left behind has been slowed by their reckless expenditure on bloated contracts and procurement during the NDC's tenure of office. And Prekese Kwame says, is the prof currently in Ghana and seeing recent happenings? Having files of PhDs, etc., does not make you knowledgeable or wise. Some are just morons who talk out. I don't know which prof you're talking about. Text says, looking at the degree of damage to be fixed, it is only logical it takes a while before, if the proper procedures are to be taken. You do not just get up and fix it. Assessment is done, and strategic plans are formulated, implemented, and then evaluation. You don't expect he and his team to do a by-heart job. Note, proper planning doesn't guarantee proper implementation. So, yes, he might be slow because they need to take their time and get things right.
Kwesi Boateng right. Sam George, fix your own problem with E.T. Mensah and allow the president to fix the mess you people left behind. Nanado is not a wizard to fix 8 years destruction in 8 months. Hadura Mystical Brima says, I think the president is even rushing. If you look at how quick they are implementing some of their flagship programs in less than 1 year, so, Mr. President, I urge you to slow down, else. And as Sir Hassan Yaima says, is Sam George a Ghanaian or alien? If he has any advice or any magic to turn things around fast, I think we will welcome that idea. It's a shared responsibility. And God's Way Clue says, if Ghanaians had known that Nanado was going to use the money accumulated by his predecessors to fund the free SHS program, they wouldn't have voted for him. That is my disappointment so far. As for fixing the economy, God's Way Clue says, David, can we go up? Okay, so it says, as for fixing the economy, there is more time. All right, and those are some of your comments on Facebook. And finally, as school reopens, parents will be obliged to pay huge sums of money to cover their world's school fees. Now, whilst the lucky ones get their fees paid right on time, others would have to wait for some more days or even weeks to get their parents to pay their fees. So it's a Throwback Thursday, and I want you to tell me, just on a lighter note, whether or not you were among the category that got their fees paid on time, or you belonged to the other group that had holidays even after school had reopened because of school fees.
I would say that sometimes I wish I would be given the opportunity to go for my school fees so that I have the opportunity to go back home and then have fun at least. The whole day will be for me. But I was the type that my school fees were always paid on time. Every time before I go to school, it will be paid before school reopens because my parents were all in the educational sector.
My school fees was normally paid on time. So I've never had the experience in my life.
My school fees was always paid on time. I never had to experience that, you know, the teacher would come to the classroom and sack people who hadn't paid fees. But the funny thing is, anytime people's names were mentioned and they were sacked, you know, I kind of felt like I wanted to be in their shoes, you know, not because their school fees was not paid, but because it felt like a holiday, you know, you're going out, and we had some tree, a certain tree in our school that you'd be sacked to go and sit under. And when you look at the people over there, you know, all the swag boys in the class were there. So, you know, the class was kind of boring. So sometimes you wish you would also be called to go and sit there.
Okay, I'm the type that my school fees wasn't paid on time, and I was asked to go home. But some of my best friends were at class learning. So my concern was what I'll miss in the class when I'm not around. So I wasn't happy when I'm sacked at school. So I'm very, very happy to see the free education coming into possible.
I know Israel certainly. Were you among the first category or the second category?
No, well, there were times I had to be sent home because I had not paid my fees.
Are you sure you didn't want to be sent home because you just wanted holidays?
No.
Okay.
Because says I was lucky, my fees were always paid on time by the help of Unilever Bob scholarship. Okay, that's good for you. But when it comes to the buying of my provisions, that is when my dad would do a post-mortem of my terminal results. He will insult me, sir, and I'll even have the moral right to ask for.
I think he wouldn't have. I think
I wouldn't even have the moral right to ask for Gary, even for Gary. My dad be strategist. Marcus says, "Haha, I remember back in SHS before writing my WASI, I had to wait until the closing date before my parents had the money to pay for my registration fees. Meanwhile, others I paid long time ago and were preparing for the exams whilst I was thinking about how to pay. Life no be fair, Abrabo." And Michael Asara says, fortunately, some of us had parents who cherished our education, so they always ensured that the payment of school fees was always on time. Regardless of that, some of us sometimes spent at least the first 3-4 days at home to escape general cleaning at school. Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we know. Kofi Sam Klinsman writes, life in SHS. And better cry. God just took some of us through. I'll leave before one Mr. Bucci comes to mention my name as owing school fees, but managed to pass all my papers. I miss Kokra Ismail. When he pays his fees, then it's assured that everyone has paid. Boys are bread. Or this year, mid-year, says, I never got the chance to be enrolled in SHS. I became a victim of broken home after JHS. I had none of the above moments. Oh, that's so pathetic. National Nat of Fair Dudu says, sister, you keep on reminding us of old days, but mine was on when our final exams was approaching and my parents had no money for my final exams fee. And Apaukejo Simon says, I was always begging the accountants whenever it reaches examination period and they wanted to sack us. Chai, my brepe. Well, I'm sure you were brepe, but now I'm sure you say it and you laugh over it. That's the beauty of life. Wow.